And so I decided, I'm going to revive that. I'm going to bring that back because I don't have going back to that whole forms idea. Your forms never really leave you. I would need to consult a reference book to go through Kusanku at this point in my career, but I can definitely pull, combinations from it that have just been drilled into me. I can do Naihanchi, no problem. But
it'd be hard to forget that one, to be honest. That's like got to be one. I learned it. I learned it a lot of stuff, quote unquote, out of order. And I learned when I learned the Hanchi, I'm like, why didn't we do this one? Oh, it's supposed to.
None of my JKD students have learned a karate kata from me, but just in our training. So if we're going to be doing working clinch or whatever, let's work this little section of bunkai. And it's not, they don't learn this is bunkai. We just work clinch and here's this throw or here's this technique. So we've been playing with those things. And it's been a lot of fun.
Nice.
Okay.
What is your favorite Naihanchi?
First.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about you, John? How many did you learn? Did you learn any of Itosu's?
Any what?
Oh, you mean version?
Yeah, no, Itosu created the second and the third one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
I don't know. The kind of the foot sweep. There's like a foot sweep variation that that I learned, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. That was fun. And then it's like beyond that is because for me, Naihanchi is kind of the Urikata. It should kind of be the Urikata. It should be between that and Kusanku. They're like the two Urikata, and I don't know, a bunch of Goju people might get all chat at us, but it's just that's the Urikata.
Chad Goju people.
Bring it, Twari. Bring it. You're not listening anyway.
No, he's not.
So it's fine. He's in a tree somewhere down in the Hobbit land. Anyway.
I like the third one.
Third one's good.
Naihanchi Sanda is my favorite. Especially, I like the way that we do it, but I like the arm wrenches. I like the arm drags. I like a lot in that form. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I've seen you guys been doing a lot of arm drag stuff lately. I like it.
I opened the messenger thing and Dan's thing. It's like, what kata is this from? I'm like, all of them.
So, really, that's funny. I was just sending Dan the same thing last night.
It's like all of them.
I found a
stop
great,
at the clickbait.
A great Greco-Roman Instagram channel where they will literally do the solo drill of whatever throw they're gonna do, and I'm just watching like, yeah, okay, that's kata, and the way they then they execute the throw and they'll go through variations. But it was funny. We're both saying, okay, that's this form, that's this form, that's this form. But that's the difference that I've been trying to work with my students in the curriculum is they don't spend countless hours working an entire 108 step yang form before you ever learn how to push hands or do a shuaijiao takedown. All you need is like 2 or 3 steps. Okay, now go do that. Drill it for 5 minutes with somebody.
Yeah. And you already have better tai chi than somebody who's only learned the form.
Oh yeah, one of my old friends who I learned a little bit of Chen from. He was based out of New York, and I was like, I don't know anybody down here who does Chen. He says, just go find a Greco-Roman coach.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have fancy pajamas, but you'll learn how to do all the same things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a good friend who sadly his school closed down at the end of last year, and so he was looking for somebody to push hands with, and he found me, and quickly realized that he never really did push hands. And so, we're at the point now where we'll do something and I'll be like, now just kind of empty that side of your body. Perfect. So that's your brush knee. Now, what are you going to do? And he's like, oh, and he's like, that's brush knee twist step. And he's like, whoa, the ability to push hands is so vital. And yeah, there's a lot of gatekeeping and keeping you in the form for a really, really long time. But
it's kind of, I don't want to say gripe, but that's kind of my issue with some of the people in the bunkai community. Mm-hmm. Like you'll see videos of of guys teaching pummeling, which is a fundamental wrestling exercise, and there's no gatekeeping in Western wrestling. Just go find somebody that's it.
Yeah.
And they're teaching pummeling, and it's clear they maybe they're either picking it up from watching YouTube videos, or they might have gone to a 3-hour catch seminar or something, and now they're teaching it on YouTube or whatever. And this is where I don't have an issue with it. Go do what you're gonna do. But I was chatting with one of them, and he said, well, but Otsuka, the guy who founded Wataru, he integrated grappling with his karate, and they neglected the fact that the guy had Menkyo Kaiden and like 2 jiu-jitsu systems before he started doing Shotokan. That if you're going to be blending something or wanting to integrate something, you owe it to yourself and your students to go deep and get that understanding of it before you start turning around and claiming it.
Well,
yeah. It's funny. My daughter last week was like, I have a friend who does wrestling, da 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 da, and I was like, fantastic. And she's like, would you let me do wrestling? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'd let you do wrestling. She was like, okay, do they have like are there classes for beginners? And I was like, sweetheart, there's no beginners. You just go and wrestle, and you get. Yeah. So I could get. For a few years and... Yeah, and she was like, really? And I was like, yeah. That's normal, It's like that, it's like people come into class and, white belts spar black belts all the time. There's no beginner version of this. You just we're all playing together, But you're right. There's no gatekeeping in wrestling. There's no gatekeeping in a lot of these systems. There seems to be in a lot of the classical systems, but
that's a lot of like layers on layers of just like don't want these people getting this, don't want these people getting that. It's not in the public system. That's the thing. A lot of that stuff will be out in the public a lot of the time.
And some of it is justified, similar to we were talking about earlier. When you're working with weapons or you're working with something that is very dangerous, there's some justification to gatekeeping. But for clinch work, grappling, no.
Basically, anything that's going to make your art alive. Like, I love that we still hear to this day from people. We start sparring at Greenbelt. We start sparring.
When is Greenbelt?
5 minutes of you walking into my school. It's limited sparring. It's all right. Take your palm. This is something I learned from my teacher, Bert Richardson. We're just going to play grown-up tag, right? Yeah. You can touch me on top of my head. I can touch you on top of your head, and we're not going, palm strike. That makes the nervous people more relaxed. It helps people learn range and timing, and then we can put on the gloves and the headgear and everything. But why would you wait for that?
Right.
Why, and
money.
This is where Bruce Lee's
insurance.
Money, insurance.
Yeah.
But you can spar without breaking the crap out of people.
Yes, you can.
In fact, that's how you're supposed to spar. Anything else is fighting. And save that for when you're making money. But this is where Bruce Lee's critique is accurate. That if the issues, you have to learn the form before you can learn things like range and timing, the things that will make your form work, that actually require a lot of rounds and reps and time to get. Then you've basically got somebody who is a robot, who has no idea how to actually fight. And that's why you look at the fighters of that era. A lot of them came from backgrounds, military, or they had boxed or something, and then they learned karate or whatever it was. So they were already fighters going into it. And then you get to the 80s with the Kitty Mall, black belts and everything. And
darn Karate Kid.
Right.
Ruined it for
everybody. We've had too many episodes on that.
They didn't have the background.
Well, I think try to wrap us here just in a minute, but I mean, in my image of just like how martial arts is supposed to be taught, it's gonna have all of that in that class. You're gonna have, no matter what it is, right? You're gonna have some version of that. Some version of touching each other, some version of not touching each other, some version of hitting an object that should be pliable in some way. Don't be hitting trees, kids. I can tell you, it's not a good idea.
Don't hit brick walls.